journey of an individual towards awakening is long. There are many layers to pass through. There are many obstacles. The grip of the mind over the spirit is almost always underestimated. Mind is a creeper. It is so good in encircling the soul, the spirit, that it eventually replaces the strength, the stability, and the firmness of the spirit to appear as if mind itself has its own strength. It has always been like that. It is just like that creeper that girdles around the tree and eventually kills the tree. Inside, there's nothing there. There is no supporting structure. It appears like this creeper has had its own strength to climb and grow, and you can see it. It is standing on its own. But it has been through a long process. There was a time when the mind did not have as much power over the spirit. It used to ask for permission. It had to live in the shadow of the spirit. But when you start feeding the mind, when you start ignoring your spirit, when all the energies are being drawn by the mind, a day will come when it will completely smother the spirit. Now, when you begin to inquire into the nature of reality, when you start your journey, it will seem like an impossible journey. Because wherever you see, you only see mind and its manifestations. The mind doesn't end with thoughts. It doesn't end with your body. Everything you perceive is your mind. The whole world of experiences is part of the mind. When you have your eyes open, whatever it is that you're seeing is a manifestation of your mind. Mind is not just a little voice in your head that you can quieten after 2 sittings. Mind is life. Mind is the world. You will know how deep the mind goes once you start traveling inward. While the journey may seem futile, while it appears like an impossible journey, when the mind gives way, when it is time for you to become rooted in your true self, mind vanishes in an instant. It is not a single thought that is dropped. Although the last thought that you're dropping is the idea of you, the idea of the body sitting in meditation, connected to that thought is one entire world. What you have forgotten is it is the body that is acting as the anchor for the whole world. This is impossible to intellectually understand because you see your body as a small part of existence. You don't see your body as a creator of existence. In that moment of enlightenment, at that moment when you are detaching yourself from the body, you will know that dropping the body is dropping the world. That is why it is impossible to be fully prepared for enlightenment. It is impossible to comprehend how it's going to impact you. Without an exception, enlightenment has been an earth-shattering experience for all those who have experienced it. It is never a gentle experience. Oh, I knew I was not the body. Although theoretically you are experiencing exactly what you have understood. Theoretically, you know that you are striving towards an experience where there is no body, where there is no mind. You are just a pure spirit. But it is one thing to know this in theory, and it is something entirely different to experience it. World, as far as the mind is concerned, it is a single word. Body is a single word. Drop is a single word. But what are you actually talking about? Look how vast your world is. Look how deep your experiences are. How strong your attachment are to things. The journey of meditation is long. It appears like an impossible journey because it is next to impossible to understand what it feels like to be and not be at the same time. What you are literally craving for is an experience of non-being. As far as the body is concerned, as far as the mind is concerned, you've always been something, but you don't want to be anything. That is what you're craving for. And that's what enlightenment is. Enlightenment is a moment when you are nothing. Now, how do you understand this? What do you mean nothing? Am I in a dark place? Well, darkness is also something. Am I in a quiet place? Well, quiet is also something. Am I blissful? Well, bliss is also something. How do you describe it? You cannot. Even Buddha could not describe it. He came out of enlightenment and he shocked all those people around him. He said, I found it. What did you find? Nothing. I found nothingness. Perhaps Buddha was one of those rare individuals who was not as shattered by the experience of enlightenment as many others. He's most likely the least impacted individual of that experience. Although, even for him, it was a grand experience. It was an experience that is indescribable in words. But when you understand what he did after enlightenment, it's almost like he went to a theater, watched a movie and came out and he started talking to people around him. I have seen something that is interesting. Let me share. Sit around me. He was very calm, very relaxed. And he started speaking and there is no dramatics in his speaking. He's not emotionally shaken. Because Buddha's method was very systematic. He knew every step of the way because he did not have a teacher, because he was not on the path of love, he was not on the path of devotion. He was doing it on his own. The only way for him to go all the way is if he is understanding every step as much as he can. Despite of that, enlightenment was an experience that he could never forget. And proof of that is, for the next 40 years, he only spoke about that. He only was longing to help people get there. Now, how do you see that experience has impacted him? It does not show in his words. It does not show in his actions. It shows in his life. It changed the entire course of his life. From that moment onwards, he became something entirely different. He had no other desires except to guide individuals to that space. Now, that tells us how spectacular an experience that was. And it also tells us something about Buddha, because he was so logical, so systematic, so scientific in his approach that he understood what had happened. It did not blow his mind because he was waiting for that experience. At a certain level, he knew what he was moving towards. That is why he has described enlightenment using a word that can easily be regarded as the most accurate word to describe enlightenment. The most scientific word: nothingness.